Explain the suspension a little bit further about Manny Machado. It's a little different than just 5 games for what he did. It's got breakdowns in it, right?
Exactly. They're actually splits, which is typical for baseball, I guess. But I think what really is upsetting the Orioles, I mean, it's a 5-game suspension, and it wasn't reduced, but 4 of those games are for the bat-throwing incident, as it will forever be known, when the bat spiraled toward third base after Fernando Abad threw 2 pitches near Manny's knee, and, of course, he wasn't suspended at all. He was just fine. But one of the days of the suspension is for an incident 2 nights earlier, the tag at third base with Josh Donaldson, which Manny thought was too aggressive, kind of flung his helmet as he was falling backward, jumped to his feet, got in his face. Neither player was ejected, but Major League Baseball, this may be unprecedented, is still tagging a day suspension onto that incident, figuring that's what kind of led to what happened on Sunday. The Orioles don't quite understand that at all. They figured, 4 games at the most it should be. And there were people in the warehouse that thought it might only be 2 or 3. I think Buck was expecting 4, but they're looking at, Trot Nixon 4 games for throwing a bat in 2002, and Pedro Guerrero in 1988, 4 games for throwing a bat, and I believe charging the mound for going after David Cone. And yet here's Manny getting 5 games, and one of those games is for just jumping up and getting in Donaldson's face, and it was over as quickly as it started. But it's 5 games.
And again, remember, the Orioles will be playing 1 man down through Friday. It's a 5-game suspension. How about roster moves? The Orioles make one, seems like daily. They've made another one, right?
Just to keep us all busy, they have. They went ahead and selected the contractor reliever Ramon Ramirez from Norfolk, and they sent down Evan Meek. And this was kind of a change in plans, first of all, because they were looking to bring up an infielder at one point, which is why Jamal Weeks has been playing at Aberdeen, and they were going to go ahead and send down a reliever. But suddenly it became a 5-game suspension, and suddenly they needed a fresh arm in the bullpen. They still have the same number, of course. Even I can do that math. But Meek had thrown 20-some pitches yesterday, was charged with 4 runs, wasn't going to be available. Ramirez hadn't pitched since Saturday. He's available. He's also on a roll. I mean, this is 8 scoreless innings, no walks, 14 strikeouts in 5 games with Norfolk. I know people are saying, Ramon Ramirez, guy's got like 423 major league games, and yet it was a signing that just flew under the radar at the end of May when the Orioles reached agreement on the minor league deal, sent him to Sarasota, then went ahead and assigned him to Norfolk. Also today, the Rule 5 pick Michael Almanzar taken off the 60-day and designated. Orioles just don't have a spot for him, and being a Rule 5 pick, you can't just option him. So they're going to see every team has a chance to claim him off waivers now. If they don't, the Orioles can offer him back to the Red Sox. If the Red Sox don't want him, then the Orioles can go ahead and send him down. He stays in the organization, but he wasn't healthy all year, had a problem with the knee, was on rehab, wasn't all that impressive. And here's a guy who's supposed to be a third baseman. The Orioles could use one now, yet they didn't think he would be a viable option. So there's a chance that he could leave the organization.
Roch, the question of the hour, what's the latest on Nolan Reimold?
Well, the Orioles haven't announced anything yet. They're going to have to, because his rehab assignment of Bowie is over now. But I've been told by multiple people they are going to go ahead and designate him for assignment. And he's already been told that, and it shouldn't be a big surprise just because there was just no spot on the roster for him. They want to keep him in the organization. And if they can go ahead and somehow get him through waivers, they can go ahead and outright him. He has to accept the assignment. But they've got enough right-handed hitting, corner outfield DH types, obviously, besides Nelson Cruz. You've got Pierce, you've got Delmon Young. There's just no place on the roster for him, but they really would like to keep him in the organization. I don't know whether he could get through waivers, even with the injury problems that he had. He's healthy now. He looked really good at Bowie, hit .315 with a couple home runs. There were a lot of scouts watching, and there are teams that have expressed interest in the past. So there's a possibility maybe they can work out a trade, or somebody, if he's on waivers, could go ahead and claim him. Tampa Bay had interest. Remember, they almost made that deal for Jason Bartlett. Joe Jordan, now the farm director in Philadelphia, was the Orioles scouting director when Nolan was drafted. Maybe they would have some interest. I'm sure he'd put in a word. So we'll see what happens with Nolan again. They would love to keep him. Just no spot on the roster for him.
Roch, the sad part about this is that
he's finally healthy.
Hamstring injury, spine injury, 2 neck surgeries, and Achilles surgeries since 2009. I mean, 5 injuries. I mean, that is a lot of injuries for one player to take.
It is. And also, let's remember when he got hit in the face. I believe that was an Alex Cobb fastball in spring training against the Rays at Port Charlotte. Face was swollen badly the next day, and a few days later he was back in the lineup. So when people say that Nolan's soft, that's not the case at all. He just had a lot of bad luck. One year at Bowie, he strained obliques on both sides and was on the DL. I think was limited to 50 games. But those spurts when he's been healthy, he's been very promising. And right now he feels like he's as healthy as he's been in years and years since he had that corrective surgery on his neck, fusing the vertebrae. So some team could go ahead and take a look at him, say he's healthy, productive, has a little bit of a track record, and we'll go ahead and take a look.
Nolan Reimold, now 30 years old. As always, Roch, we appreciate it. Check him out, Roch Kubatko, MasterSports.com.